Hello, good evening, guys. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma. Sorry for the bit of hiccup that happened the other day. That was supposed to be Friday and Saturday. Something came up, so it was quite urgent. So we just need to attend to it. So sorry about that, but I will definitely meet it up. Try to create times for us to, to lap up these times. So that is why you can see that I just have to stay tuned to JavaScript. Otherwise, we're supposed to start with Python today. So we don't want to be waiting anymore. At least for some of us here that have been here going through this, these are the usual people. So whoever is late will definitely catch up, or could just go through the links on the YouTube and get it from there. I think that will serve. Cannot just be waiting for everybody like that. I hope you all agree with me on that, right? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay, ma'am. Okay. So we did HTML, we did CSS, we started JavaScript, and this is just like the beginning of JavaScript. We say that the importance of JavaScript in the web fundamentals or web technology. The web technologies is the functionalities that it does portray, right? So it is very, very vital for as far as web is concerned, and it's like the very fundamental of programming. And we say that why the HTML structure and mock it up, the JavaScript interpret it to the browser by, firing the functionalities. For example, click something and, to see something. Time will come, we're going to be using the word sector, getter, and setter, which is like create and then like the request and the response thing. So it's used for creating a pop-up, you clicking the buttons, firing the games and all of that stuff. And we say that what is very common in JavaScript is statements, right? Each line in JavaScript is an instructions, and this instructions is made up of a statement, and this statement has a rules, and we say that these rules, they are very, very important, and that we does apply what we call execution cycle, and output has several environments, like you can output in the terminal or command prompt, you can output in the browser, you can also output in the HTML document. So in a statement, what we regard so much is the semicolons, right? And every statement ends with semicolons. In case of those that are joined today, this is a quick recap. We also talked about comments, where we say that single line comments start with double slash, while multiple line comments start with a slash, asterisk, and asterisk forward slash. We also talk about, several rules. And the rules is that JavaScript is rule-based, the same way that CSS is rule-based. And those rules, they cannot just be, be looked down upon, because if you don't follow them, definitely you're going to see the consequences, like with immediate consequences. It does not wait for you forever. So this is the environment that you can see your output, in the browser, can see the output in the HTML document. You can also see the output in the terminal, which is a command prompt. And we give this simple exercise. I don't know how many people went through it. Did you get time to check on the exercise? Some of those links there? Did anyone? Great time to go through them, even our slides. Do you usually go through our slides? Anybody?
We'll go to the slide, but the light issues in this past couple of weeks, I mean this past 1 week plus,
Okay, like you mean
has
power.
been something else.
Okay. All right. So we also talked about variables, where we say that variable is like an empty bucket with a water in it, and just like a container with a value in it. Right? And we say that every variable starts with var. You must declare the var keywords before you give the variable names, and then you assign the value for it. And if peradventure you declare it, sorry, I say if peradventure you declare, you don't want to declare it in one statement, like you can just give a declaration using the var keywords and with the object, and then you assign the value for the agents. So because there are two things here, right? After using the var keywords, you must declare calling the names and initialize giving the value, which is this something like this, as you can see from the screen. So var keyword is very, very key. Otherwise, it's going to override it. We also talked about naming, system of naming, where we say that variables are case sensitive. In JavaScript, overall is case sensitive, right? Case sensitivity is a key thing. There are conventions in which you must abide by. For example, variables start with lowercase letter. Variable also start with $sign or underscore. It does not contain symbol like percentage, pound sign, exclamation, but it's also written in camel case. That is in the sense that can start with lowercase and mixed with upper cases, and even the symbol for as far as the symbol is $sign or underscore. We also talked about reserved words, where we say such reserved word never be used for variables as a name, right? Or name of anything, because it may sink into it in a proper pattern of writing it. It may sink into it, so it's not advisable to think of using any case, any reserved word. And full list of the reserved words, they're also here, in as much as we can see rewrite a program that will pull up all of the, or several of the reserved words. So, but from this link that I posted here, you should be able to see a lot of them. See a whole lot. All right, so we talked about variable types, right? We talked about, excuse me a moment, please. So we talked about variable types, and we say that these variable types, they are of strings, they are of int, they are of floats, they are also of booleans, they are of non-type, and all of that, right? So talked about strings, float, int, booleans, non-type. Okay, yeah. This is examples of variable types, right? We also say the variable We also said that variables can be empty by setting the value to null, just like saying that it's null, right? But when value is not given, then it's going to declare it undefined. And this is like the very first, like the very first one that we did. Another exercise, we talked about operators from plus to subtraction to multiplications, division, modulus to integer division and all. So we also say that you can state a variable with an expression, and even such expression could be a list expression. Talked about that too. Talked about increment and decrement. You want to ask question? She asking question. Hello? She asking question or she's not aware. So we talked about comparison, you know. Maybe some of you that didn't get time to go through these slides, these are very important logical operators. Time will come, we'll go to the NOR and the XOR and several of the most advanced form of it. You know, the logic operators with several examples that we gave. And very, very importantly, we talked about list variables. That is variable holding a list. And it's very important where on our list we have elements like peach, orange, and apple. We talked about how to push and the length of it. We talked about the index, how to check the base, where we say that the base starts from 0. We talked about editing, because we believe that list is mutable. Why something like tuple in the future classes, you see that tuple is immutable, means it's not editable. For this, you can push, you know, same way we've done that. Yeah, and links us to if statement, which is like the condition flow in Python, where we try to bring two subjects together. That is the variable thing with a value and trying to give the conditions of the if and to see the output. So we did all of this. And I think this is where we stopped, right? Is that where we stopped? No, okay, here. We did the for loop, right? For loop statement. We talked about counter, counting to, increment counter, right? Where we say that the counter, it is a track of what step you are on. That is distance that you covered so far. And the counting to is where you are going. And the increment is the step that you're taking as you are going. And we simplify that by giving some examples. And these are the examples. So, yeah, we did this, right? You're counting up to foot lengths, and yeah, we did it. I iterate over an array. Oh, we even did functions. So we say that just like a function, look at the function as a task given to you, you know, as an employee of either a university or a company. You know, when a task is given to you, definitely you just have to get to work and get it done. If you don't have the skills, you just have to research or look for a training that you do to accumulate the skills so that you can get the job done. So functions elsewhere is functioning here, right? And one thing that we do so much here, we declare functions and we call it. So when you declare it, calling can be multiple times. For example, if your mother, if you and your mother are cooking and then, the jollof rice is not done, I mean, what is required, maybe grinding of pepper. The fact that you're done grinding pepper doesn't mean that they cannot send you to go and bring ukbe and all of that stuff. That is what we are saying, calling multiple times, right? So one person can be assigned several tasks. So functions also can be called multiple times. So to an agent. So one agent can perform several functions, and performing several functions, you can call it several times as well. As you're calling and he's answering, he's sweeping and he's cooking and he's doing all of that, just like a mother at home that is doing cleaning, he's cooking, he's showering the baby, he's teaching another set of babies and all of that stuff. So you're just going to look at it that way. So, and we try to identify what is new, where we say print list, functions name, the list itself, the curly bracket, which the semicolon, and the for loop. So this is things are new. This time now, if you have a question, you can ask. So declaring a function is different from a statement. And also calling a function is not declaring a functions. Calling, you're going to look at it as, I am done doing the music now, play it, let's hear it. That is what we mean call. The codes in a function will not be run until you explicitly call it. No matter how beautiful the function, if you don't tell it to start, it will never start. That is what we meant. Yeah. So using the annotation, for those who were not here that day, this is declaring the function here. This is the function that is being declared. This is the content in the functions that the functions will fetch from, which is the list here. And when you are done, this is a calling. Until this is done, function will not run, the code will not run. That is what we're saying. So variable defines in functions can only be used in those functions. So in case you say you know about inheritance and you want to inherit it, if God permits and we do object-oriented programming, you'll know more about inheritance and polymorphism. So in that regards, it's like inheriting a particular agent or a particular character or properties, then you instantiate it in the upfront. But here we are saying that when you define the functions, when you define a variable in a function, that can only be used in those functions. You can never inherit it, right? So what happened when you forget to use the var keywords? That was a question that it will just override it, right? Talked about function objects, right? So everything in programming is an object, the modern way programming, and that is where the object-oriented programming comes from, is an object. Then orientation here, we meant you train it to learn from the surrounding or where the agent is. So, and by so doing, as it's learning, right, it will perform a function. And the very, very straight way to understand this is like saying that whatever is happening today has happened before and it will happen again. It makes is clearer in artificial intelligence, especially using concept of Python, than any other place. So for whatever is happening today, it has happened before and it will happen again. So we use predictive concept. So, and this object thing is started behaving very so much well in what we call image detection model and object detection models, where they learn from past, use it to explain the present, predict future. So in that regards, you can detect which object is this, which image is this, right? So that is a concept of what we say reinforcement learning and machine learning. Most of the time, these are the things that brought this thing in a better picture than every other way, right? So for those in data science, they even know it better, and then people in Python. So objects, they are collections of properties that contains number, strings, functions, arrays, even other objects. So there could be parent object and children or child objects, right? So there could be objects in objects. Just look at it from the angle of family tree, right? Where you have grandfather, father, that is, you have great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, and the children. So that is how it is in terms of object. Objects could be sitting in another object, right? So these are very, very useful terms of properties. So these are the things where we're supposed to get in before the link elapsed the other time. So far, so good. Question. I think what I've been doing is a recap. This is where we're supposed to head in before the class elapsed that day. So ask questions. We have like 6 minutes to go on this link. And when this elapses, you can join the second one. But before then, does anybody has a question? Hello, guys. Hello.
No, for now, no.
Okay, no from Emmanuel.
For
We are
now,
with
no
you, sir.
from
We
my
are with
end.
you.
No from Car, no from who again? From, is he Madam Naomi? Who? Okay. From Ohi. No from everybody. Because we are entering the big G now. If you see this convention, it looks like that of HTML in terms of indentation, isn't it? Hello, guys. Hello.
Yes,
Can you see the screen?
yes.
And
Yes, we can.
and if you see it again also, taking the equals to out of the game, it also looks like CSS, does it?
Yeah, more like CSS with the
Exactly.
dot
So,
and the every.
yeah. So when we see here, this is an object. When we say everything is an object, everything is an object. For as far as programming is concerned, the object we are dealing with here is car, object of car. And a car has several properties, which we are also dealing with here. So you're going to see this object as even a selector. So for example, they make here in that CSS, if you remember, you know what a selector mean what, you know what a property and the value is, right? So the car here is a selector, the make here is a properties, and the Tesla is a value. So also here, right? The object here is the car. It's object of car we are dealing with. An object has properties with values. So the var is a keyword that you use to declare a variable. This is also a variable, right? With properties in it. So for example, we say car equals to, then in this object of car, what are the properties in there? We have make, We have model, we have accelerations, we have accelerate. The accelerations, for those of you that did English, is different from accelerate, isn't it? The accelerate, from my own English that I did, that is the verbs, right? Is the function. When they say accelerate, it's an action, isn't it? You see that in there, we cue in the function, because that is the function. And what are we accelerating? This does accelerate, like the this now is referring to the object of car. This, I told you the reserve word. This, I think you saw this there, right? The this is a reserve word. This dot accelerate is telling what function am I performing. This is the function that you're going to perform. Accelerate is the function. But what is the function that I'm performing? He wants to tell me now. This does accelerate like the car. Assess and accelerate of what speed, which is 10. This is what this whole thing is talking. But this car is a make of Tesla, is Model S. It has accelerations of 30, has a higher speed there. And we're giving it a function. I don't know whether it's making sense to you guys. I don't know if you're feeling it a little bit. Hello, guys.
We are with you, sir. We are with you. I'm with you.
Yes.
I'm with you.
So we all know car. We all know that Tesla owned a model called Model S. I think that was their first launch, the first electric car, isn't it? So, but these are an assumptions though. It must not be Tesla. It could be Mercedes-Benz, could be Toyota, could be Chevrolet, or even a Bugatti, Chiron, or something. So what we are doing here, right, is like you can use object of anything that you know, but it's just for understanding sake that we are putting all of this in. So know that for every object has a properties and has a value. Every object. So, and since they have a property and they have a value, every object can perform a function. And a function is specific. And an object can have multiple functions.